everyone, I'm Nightmare Nemo, and welcome to Scary Town, the Goosebumps review show. And this week we are going to review a very important title in the classic Goosebumps series. And without it, there would be no Horrorland because it's One Day at Horrorland. And there is the back. Tagline for this is "Enter if you dare." And the back says the next ride might be their last, but it's not. I will tell you my personal story of it is one of my favorite books of the series. And when I got it, I spent like a whole night, stayed up past my bedtime, and I locked myself in my room so like I wouldn't get any interruptions. And I read the book like straight through because this is so riveting, and I just wanted to find out what happens next and how it all comes to an end. So that just shows how much I love the book. I was kind of hesitant to go back to it because I'm kind of worried, as such a lot of things that you're nostalgic about. I was a bit worried that going back to reading it again after all these years, it wouldn't live up to what I thought about it back when I was a kid. And I would say it's still a really solid entry in the Goosebumps series. Still really good. It just, compared to the Horrorland series and the stuff following with all that, it's not as shocking or as spooky and not as great as the Horrorland stuff is in its own series. But for the time and for how big of an impact it has for Goosebumps as a whole, as a series, it can't be understated. So we'll get into the story's pretty basic. A family where it's like a brother and a sister and the brother's friend, Clay. There's Luke and Lizzie, who, if you remember from my Escape from Horrorland and the Streets of Panic Park, that's where they're introduced. Once again, they come back. So Lizzie is 2 years older than her brother and Clay, and her role in the story is she's the one that just keeps everyone cool, tries to keep everyone calm, and it tries not to get too emotional, but she does. So she's just there to keep everyone steady. And then there is Clay, Clay is like the scaredy cat, like the extreme scaredy cat of the group, and he just doesn't enjoy anything that happens in Horrorland, and he really be rather anywhere else than Horrorland. And then there's Luke, who is like the polar opposite of that. He enjoys being scared to death. He loves Horrorland, and they even joke that just put him in a Horrorland horror costume and he would fit right in. So basically the story is they're on a family trip. They're trying to get to a place called Zoo Gardens, and they get stuck in the middle of nowhere, and trying to double back, they stumble upon Horrorland. And of course Luke is the first one to be like, hey, let's check this out, because he's really into being scared, and he's like, let's check that out. And then the kids are interested into it as well, because they don't really know what they're into or what they're going to get into. And so he's like, oh, it's better than nothing. So things start off on the wrong foot. They get up to the entrance, and then the car explodes. And they freak out, and they ask the horror at the entrance, like, hey, you got a phone? We just got to call somebody, get this sorted out. And there's, and it's like, there's no phones in Horrorland. And that immediately throws up a red flag. You're like, that's highly suspicious. I don't know if I want to go into a theme park that doesn't allow phones. It seems kind of odd. And it is very suspicious. As soon as they get there, the car explodes for like no reason. They're like, But like the kids are like, let's just go in the park and have fun and forget about things. And the horror at the entrance informs them that we'll take care of everything somehow. He's not very detailed in what's going to happen, how he's going to help them, but it's going to be okay. And so they go, and of course they decide to split up. The parents are going to go off and try to find a phone, even though they were informed that there are no phones in Horrorland. They think they can find a phone anyways. So, okay, sure. That makes sense. So the kids are like, yeah, this is awesome. We go off on our own. And throughout the story, they go into various attractions that are now infamous from the Horrorland series. Those are revisited, like the House of Mirrors, the boat ride with the coffin boat ride, the Doom slide, of course. That's actually the very first ride they go on, and it's pretty cool. If you don't know the Doom slide, basically you go up to, there's like a bunch of slides, like maybe like over a dozen, and they're all numbered. And the thing is, they're all of them except for one is a normal slide. But if you go into that special one, that's the Doom slide, and if you slide on that, you slide forever and ever and ever until you like die of starvation or dehydration or whatever. And that's basically it. And that's the whole thing, and it's pretty awesome. And then they go into Werewolf Village, petting zoo, and a bunch of other rides that it's pretty good. It of course plays with the whole Horrorland theme of, we're trying to scare you. You're in a situation where you could be killed or crushed or maimed in a way, but it's all like a joke. It's all part of the act. You're never really in a sense of danger. So there's that. And then over the course of the story, Clay and Lizzie are like, they don't want any part of this Horrorland, so they want to escape. And that's pretty much the story. They're trying to escape, and you stay tuned until the end. You'll see whether or not they are successful. So that's One Day at Horrorland. I will say that it's still really solid. It's still a really solid Goosebumps story. And, like I said, without it, there would be no Horrorland series. And Horrorland series just kind of builds up upon what One Day at Horrorland establishes. And it's just a great concept. A spooky, horror-themed theme park that is essentially like Goosebumps, but like everywhere. And it's just great because it has that spooky, scary, kind of goofy, cartoonish elements that Goosebumps are known for, and it just has fun with it. This has all these crazy rides, and it's just a lot of fun. It's just you can't read it and not have fun with the concept. It's really good. And let's just say the only bad things I have to say about it is that it's not as great as the recent Horrorland stuff, because that's it. The Horrorland series tries to amp that stuff up, so it's a bit kind of aged in that respect. But you'll still have a lot of fun with it, and you don't know anything about Horrorland, or you've been reading the Horrorland series and just want to see how it all began. It's definitely worth a read, so definitely check out One Day at Horrorland. You will not be disappointed, and it's great. And I will say also, do avoid the TV episode, because while the TV series Goosebumps is usually fairly accurate and good, episode of One Day at Horrorland is really bad because of mostly budgeting reasons, because basically the episode is like filmed in the woods, and it's very cheaply done, The Horrorland, the characters there in the Horrorland horrors costumes are pretty good though. But other than that, they really can't show any of the rides because then they would have to actually build like a full theme park. Although I don't see why they couldn't just like get an existing theme park and just add like some signs and color things. But then again, that would cost a lot of money as well. So there really no way to do the story justice, and was it two like 25-minute episodes is it just really can't do it. It's because the story is in a theme park, and if you're not gonna do a full theme park, it's just not gonna work. And well, for the most part, it's pretty faithful, especially the end of the book. So it still has that. Also, I just thought of this. The other bad thing, without spoiling the end of One Day in Horrorland, the ending, while keeping in nature of having those twist, surprising endings to a Goosebumps story, it kind of devalues what you think of Horrorland, and it kind of makes it seem like really dumb. What it reveals, and it's just one of those really silly like endings, just to kind of like, ooh, it just flips the script on you. You didn't expect that, but it's really dumb. I can see what they were trying to do, but it really leaves a bad taste in your mouth, and it's best to just kind of forget that the ending happened, because all the other Horrorland series, all the other books in that series, they pretty much forget what happened at the end here as well. So just enjoy it for it's shocking. I didn't see that coming, and just kind of go with it, because they don't reference it at all in the Horrorland series. So there's that. So that's all I got for you guys this week. Hope you guys enjoyed. I've been sort of looking forward to reviewing this ever since I've been covering the Horrorland series. So now you can see how it all started. So definitely check it out, and I'll see you guys next week for another review. And I'll see you guys next time.